For the record, Your Honor, Christina Ritter on behalf of the
And yes, Your Honor, Brandon Bird on behalf of Skyia Boykin. Ms. Boykin, please unmute yourself and state your full name for the record.
Skyia Boykin.
What's your name?
Skyia Boykin.
All right, today is the day set for pretrial conference, Mr. Bird.
Yes, Your Honor, respectfully, we're going to ask for these cases to be dismissed if there's no complaining witness.
Ms. Ritter.
So, Your Honor, with respect to case number 8,
Ms. Ritter, you have to speak up.
I'm sorry, with respect to case number ending in 714, I'm gonna ask the court to adjourn that pretrial conference, to give the complaining witness, Ms. Michelle Bentley, one more opportunity to appear. With respect to case number ending in 623 and 214, Your Honor, those are complaining witnesses on behalf of Sitco Gas Station. At this time, the people have no explanation as to why the corporate complaining witness does not appear. And at this time, Your Honor, the people will not be able to proceed based on the complaining witness.
All right.
You said, okay, I know,
Call
the 2023 case, that's a court
23
complaint. You said the MDOB is a court complaint.
40
Yes, sir.
Elton Prescott. You were Elton Prescott, sir?
All right, with respect to case number
Present.
204471401, the court denied defense counsel's motion for dismissal,
And
grant the people's
State's
request
attorney.
for an adjournment, giving them an opportunity to locate and notify the complaining witness of the obligation that they appear before the court. I am going to set that pretrial conference for October the 17th. The complaining witness is required to appear. Come to court on October the 17th, Ms. Boykin. How are you going to remember?
My baby father, he's been real supportive of me. He makes sure I go to my important places I need to go. He will be there to bring me.
Well, your lawyer said you're homeless. Do you live with your the father of your child?
No, I don't live with him, but I will be going over there to stay for a while for my birthday. So, like, if I need him to take me somewhere, he comes and take me to where I have to go.
Okay. Okay.
I won't miss court, ma'am. I guarantee you that.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Boykin, so I need you to he needs to bring you down to 36th District Court, or somebody has to let you Zoom on the court. And then Ms. Boykin, you don't need me to release you to a shelter. I mean, where you gonna live when you get out?
I don't just be sleeping on the street.
Okay, well, I don't want you sleeping on the street. It's starting to get cold. I'm gonna remove the tether and set your bond at $2,000 personal bond, and no contact with the person that's accusing you of assaulting them, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Boykin. We're gonna go back to breakout. Just hold on 1 second. The lawyer wants to talk to you again.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Bird,
Yes, Your Honor.
Back to breakout, so she might have sent you. She's sending you a message on the case. All right, Ms. Boykin, they'll be in there in a minute. Tell the deputy to put you back in the breakout room, Ms. Boykin.
Welcome back to Time Served, the channel that scans the docket so you don't have to. I'm Phil, and it seems like forever that I've delivered a daily docket to you. School has started and my other career has gotten into the swing of things, so I can deliver a daily docket for you today, and boy is it going to deliver. Why would this gentleman right here think it's okay? How can this gentleman think it's okay to show up to Judge Bryant's courtroom on a bus? And wait until you hear how he showed up prior to it. Unfortunately, we didn't get the video on it, but Judge Bryant tells you why she was PO'd in the first place. And straight out of Bexar County, yes, I said it, Bexar County, not Bexar. Thank you in the comments for correcting me. From Judge Boyd, then we go to Judge Stevens, a little Judge West, and some surprises I have up my sleeve. Thank you for watching. We are on our way to 30K, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe, set your notifications to all, and never miss the fresh Daily Docket. Court is now in session. Let's roll, nerds.
Oh, I remember Ross Perot back in the day.
They give it to me, my t-shirt all over the blood. It was
I wanted him in the bloody shirt.
Okay, they give you a t-shirt and what happened?
They give you, this is not mine, all over the blood.
All of it what?
Blood.
He had blood on his actual shirt.
Ah, so they gave him this at the jail.
I wanted him in the bloody shirt.
Ah, okay. All right, pronounce your name for me, your full name.
Abdul Khalik, Abdul Hassan, Awde, Alansi.
Thank you. You mispronounced his name. I was closer. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
didn't pronounce it.
All right, so the state has filed a dismissal in your case, and they're saying that they're dismissing it because a witness is missing. So let me explain something to you. You will be released today, and unless there's something else holding you, you'll be released, and it should be within 3 hours, but it'll probably be at midnight because that's just the way things happen. Your attorney probably can call and figure out when exactly you're going to be released. Do not go out and celebrate the dismissal, right? Because here's what I've discovered in my short time on the planet. Even though I'm in the twilight of my life, I've still been on the planet a short time. Sometimes things happen for a reason, and you got to sit back and ask yourself, why am I in the situation that I'm in today? All right. And you need to make sure that you're not in that situation again. I don't know any facts of this case. I don't know if you were hanging around with people and things got out of hand, but whatever it is, the people that you were with on this day, you probably shouldn't be with them again. You understand? All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I pray for you. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you. I appreciate your prayers.
Let's do it. Take care of yourself. Get it together.
You know, the only thing I know from your language is yalla. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Tracy Reed. Thank you, Miss Reed. You're here because you have are you sick, ma'am? Yes. You're here because you have an outstanding balance on these cases that you have made no payments on.
Yeah, they just gave me a payment plan. I was waiting on them because we had did the thing over online where you can make payment arrangements or whatever. So they just got that figured out. They want me to pay $100 a month. But as of right now, that won't happen. I have surgery on the 22nd of this month. So I won't be able to start making those payments until maybe October the 5th.
Okay. I'll bring you back on November the 21st. You should have made 2 payments by then, ma'am, okay?
Okay.
And Your Honor, the note in JIS was a little bit weird. So it said that her $100 a month plan was due on the 12th, starting on August 14th. So I didn't know if that meant she was supposed to start on the 12th of September, or if that
No,
was just
what
a typo
was
and it was supposed to be
Okay,
August.
okay, that's enough. I'll see you back here on November 21st, ma'am, like I
Oh, no
said,
problem.
making your payments.
Mr. Polk, don't ever come to court again. Well, first of all, you on the bus, and I'm not going to have court with Mr. Polk on the bus. And then no. And then he got to put his ear up to the phone because he can't hear us because he's on the bus. And I'm trying to figure out why was he outside getting on the bus with his shirt off, logging into court with his shirt off. It was very rude and it was very disrespectful.
If you can let me.
I'm not going to have court with Mr. Polk on the bus. So Ms. Stevenson, I don't know where he's on his way to, but I'll put him in a breakout room. But let's be clear, I won't have court with Mr. Polk on the bus. I will not have court with Mr. Polk on the bus. He's not listening. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. He's not even looking at his screen. I mean, it's just so distracting. I can't imagine. So if you would please look at your screen and accept to join a breakout room. Don't have no attitude with me. Don't have attitude with me, because if you have attitude with me, it's just not going to work out for you, but it's going to work out for me. Ms. Stevenson, you might need to go in and talk to Mr. Polk, because I don't know where he's on his way to on the bus, and he's supposed to be in court.
Yes, Your Honor. Shall I go now, Your Honor?
Well, he's still on the screen, so I don't know.
Mr. Polk, join your breakout room, please, sir. Mr. Polk, sir, please tell the judge your full name.
Amir Rashard Polk.
All right. Today is a day set for pretrial conference. How are we proceeding?
On behalf of Mr. Polk, we thank the court for hearing this matter. Mr. Polk will, on his behalf, we move for dismissal for the complainant's failure to appear.
Ms. Ritter.
Your Honor, it's at least the second scheduling of the pretrial conference, and the court requires the complainant witnesses, Mr. Tashawn Brown and Ms. Asia Taylor, to be present for today's hearing. I don't see neither of the complainant witnesses in the waiting room, nor do I have an explanation as to why the complainant witnesses are not present. At this time, Your Honor, the people will not be able to proceed based on the complainant witnesses' failure to appear for at least the second scheduling of the pretrial conference.
Today is the day set for pretrial conference. The complaining witnesses were required to appear. They have failed to appear, and the people have no explanation for the failure. The court is going to grant this. The court is, in a minute, I'm going to say Mr. Polk just got to come in person.
Be still, Mr. Polk.
Oh.
Be still, like a picture.
I mean, he's doing so much. It's just been a struggle having court with you this morning, Mr. Polk. You came on showing us your bare chest. We didn't want to see it, but you showed it. You showed it.
And I apologize.
Quiet, Mr. Polk. Just be quiet and listen.
Because you apologizing for showing us your bare chest is of no consequence. There should not have had to be an apology, because we're in court. And who would come to court with their bare chest? Who would do that? No one should. And then I had to deal with you being on the bus. And you're acting as if you're doing me some type of favor. But you're not. You're not doing me any favor. This is your court date.
Tell the court your full.
The complaining witnesses were required to appear. They have failed to appear. The people have no explanation for the failure to appear. They are unable to proceed. The court is going to grant defense counsel's motion, irrespective of and in spite of the defendant's personal behavior today. The court is going to grant defense counsel's motion and dismiss the matters without prejudice for failure of the witnesses to appear. We will mail a copy of the orders of dismissal for Mr. Polk's records. Have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
State's attorney.
I'm ready on.
Mr. Ham. Earlier, the defendant pleaded guilty to robbery. And this says on the pre-sentence report, first-degree felony, but robbery is a second-degree felony, right? But it was enhanced to a first-degree felony, apparently depleted first-degree felony punishment
Yes, sure.
since the defendant pleaded true to paragraph 3.5.
Correct, Judge. We did counts 1 and 5 to increase it to a first degree punishment range.
And the pre-sentence report has been prepared. Have the parties had an opportunity to review it? Are there any corrections or changes, first of all?
Yes, we're gonna have some changes.
State. Let me go state first.
None from the state, Judge.
None from the state. Go ahead, defense.
We do have some additions and, correction to it,
Go ahead.
and I got.
Give me the page number and
Oh, I'm sorry. Specifically on page, let me find it. With the spindle top, let me meet you tomorrow. Let me find it. Sorry about that. I misplaced where I saw that he didn't have any kind of like spindle top.
yeah.
Okay, here you go. I found it. On page 5, it had contact with spindle top center indicated the defendant has never received services. In my understanding, we're talking to his family member, and he did get services from spindle top, and that's they'll tell you about that.
Okay.
That's the correction. And then
Okay.
another I'm sorry.
What's state say? Do you object to that? I'm just deleting the word never.
I object because this is the information that the PSI officer got.
Okay, you don't have any information otherwise.
No.
Okay.
But if they.
All right, it's an issue that I'll resolve. What's next?
And then the last thing is that I believe his sister who's here today and the wife is gonna tell that, he did have some drug issues that affected his life.
Okay, his sister and his wife.
They're here today.
Okay.
They're not gonna be long.
We're gonna say what?
Well, obviously they're gonna ask you to consider on the cap of 15 giving him probation. However, they can talk to you about his substance history and how that affected his, mental state, as well as his poverty and not having money and economics.
Okay.
So if you want me,
Go ahead.
I can do them real quick.
Go ahead.
Cheryl Manville. And that'll be short.
David, you're fixing up a plea, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Do you need your guy out here while you're?
No, sir, but I finally got it where the computer has finally got my name. I think I should have that done in a few minutes.
Okay, so your first witness is who?
Miss Cheryl Manville.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the statements you're about to make shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Lawyer, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. We had an opportunity to discuss some of the contents of this PSI, and the judge has asked us if there's any additions up here. You understand that? And one of the things that you pointed out to me when I talked with you and his wife about never having any kind of spindle top history, you told me that he did. Okay. Could you tell the court about that?
Well, he goes there for his psych meds because he has psychological issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speak up when you can hear you.
He goes to Stone Top for his psych meds because he has psychological issues, deep depression, and they also prescribe his prostate medicine because he's dealing with prostate cancer.
So to your understanding, what we're correcting and what we're adding is that he has a diagnosis for, I know it says reportedly diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but I don't want to use the reportedly. He has a diagnosis for deep depression. That's different from
and schizophrenia.
And schizophrenia. So what we're clarifying for the PSI is not reportedly, that he has paranoid schizophrenia and he has deep depression. Do you also
when was that diagnosed?
You can tell when was that?
You know when?
I can't give you a specific date.
You can give me, I'm the judge.
I don't have.
You don't know what it is. Was it a few years ago or a long time ago?
A few years ago. So, especially since he's been home this 4 years. He's been seeking treatment. Prior to that, he was incarcerated under care. So, since being home, he's been getting the medications, taking the medications. And when he don't, it's a problem. He needs his meds.
And do you believe that him not being on his medications or having issues with medications has affected his decision making in this particular case?
Absolutely.
And how has it affected his decision making?
He generally don't think things through.
Mhm. So with him having the schizophrenia is basically where you're hearing voices, and then you said deep depression where he goes into a sadness. With that deep depression, do you know part of his sadness had involved in his economic situation where he was having money problems? Was he having money problems?
Well, initially, no, because he came home and he got a job, and he was working, and then the layoff, then he wasn't prepared for, and that's when he began to isolate.
So when he puts, we add into the PSI, when he puts defendant's version, he said, "I needed money." What I want you to add to that is, at this particular time.
Objection leading.
It's like you're asking her to tell me in your own words something. But
okay, at this particular time of this offense, was he having money problems? That's an open.
He was, yes, indeed. He had been laid off for a few months, and he did have money issues. And
where was he working before he was laid off?
He had gotten on at different jobs. You know how the construction field is. You're here for 2 years, you're here for 6 months. He had just gotten on at the Sabine Pass thing, and it was an intermission. You know how they do around the holidays, they're out for a while. So he hadn't been called back to go to work.
Do you see his evidence of his money, of his income? Do you know how much how do you know that?
How do I know? Because he lived with me for a year when he first returned home. I insisted that he stay with me.
How much was he making? What was his income?
From $700 to $1,000 a week.
700 to 1,000. So
yes, working at the plants. And
that's about right.
Yeah.
For what was he doing?
Whatever work. One time he was picking up trash. But
if you can get a job at those refineries, they'll pay you about
$4,000. Scaffold builder.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's about right. 4,000.
Yes. And my son has the opportunity to be back on the job.
See, I asked that because according to the probation office, who does a good job on doing the pre-sentence report, when they asked him what he was making, he says he's making $8,000 to $9,000 a month. That'd be great. I might get that job.
That was doing the shutdown.
That was doing shutdown.
Yes.
That you can make more, but
yeah,
I didn't think it was double. But
yeah, we were working like 12 and 16 hours.
12 and 16?
Yes, 7 days a week. That was overtime. It was time and a half. 90 hours.
Well, it's got to be double time, not just time and a half.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they did more than time and a half. But still, I mean, he could be making realistically that way 6,000 a month.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
So here's my last question. With the TRS score indicating that he's moderate to high risk level for probation, are you asking the judge on the 15-year cap to give him probation?
I would love that, or at least for somebody to get the help with this psychological and depression issues.
Oh, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Or your hand. Go ahead.
Something like, but you understand that we're asking the court to on 15-year cap, not to give him 15 years and give him probation. Do you understand that? Okay, so can you tell the court why you're asking for your husband to be put on probation?
We need him home. We need him at home. He is a hard worker. He is the head of our household. At the time, yes, he did end up getting laid off, so it was hard for him. I mean, just give him that chance. He can come home and do it.
And if he's given probation, I know that there are some statements about his ability to work. If the judge orders restitution in this case for the items that came, that were identified at Lowe's, would he be able to pay restitution if he didn't order? And if he had a job, well, obviously, if he's sent to prison, he won't be able to do that restitution. But if he's on probation, would you make sure that whatever items need to be paid for get paid?
I would definitely make sure.
And it's and then currently yourself, how are you employed?
I'm a pharmacy technician.
And where you a pharmacy technician at?
Central pharmacy.
So with the money that you're making, would you be willing to assist him financially if he's given probation and making restitution or anything like that?
Yes.
All right.
This, page 4 of the PSI lists you as his girlfriend. But y'all are not legally married. So when counsel introduced you as his wife, it's actually, the truth is you're his girlfriend.
Yeah, I say so. Yeah.
But
We are engaged.
Not legally married. And the rest of the information here says you have 2 young children.
Correct.
Those aren't his, they're yours from.
Correct, from a different approach.
Thank you for the wording there, ma'am. That's what I wanted to clarify. No further questions.
Anything else from this lady? Okay, you can be seated, madam. Next, please.
You want to speak? Yeah. So we're clear. Didn't you introduce that lady to me as your wife?
Yes.
All right. Yes. Well, I got that from you.
We live together.
All
We
right.
live together.
Right.
When are you going to marry that lady?
When I get out, if I get out right here, my job is already waiting on me. I talked to my superintendent. He's the over the whole site, plant site at the LNG plant in Golden Pass and Sabine Pass. His name is John Trader. And he told me that I'm able to come back. And they also asked me if I could go to school and get my CDLs because they need truck drivers. And I've been studying CDL classes and stuff through what she's been able to send me through pictures on the kiosk in the county jail. And I have a book. Book was ordered and sent to me. So I've been studying for my CDLs.
All of that is fine, but can be lost by making poor choices in life.
I think.
And this, your response to what you did here was, I needed money, which is not working out here. From what I hear, money was not an issue. You had enough money. But that's what you said. I needed money. For what? What was it that you needed money for that you couldn't pay with $8,000 or $9,000 a month?
Well, I went through that money buying my car and getting my tools and stuff, but I went through.
So you threatened people?
No, sir. No, sir.
I'm sorry. The pre-sentence report has been introduced and there were no objections to it. And here it says that you place several items on a cart, walk toward the exit.
Yes, sir.
The manager approached you, asked to see the receipt. You
Yes.
refused to show a receipt, then became aggressive. You said, if you don't get out of my way, and this says you would be his ass, but I'm sure it meant beat his ass. That's just another mistake here in a pre-sentence report that you got. That just was kind of a word that, but because I can't imagine that's B is the correct usage for this situation. We're going to correct that. Any objection?
No, thank you for catching that, Judge.
Picking that up. The man who is the assistant manager stated he took the threat seriously, let you walk out, you got into a vehicle and then left the scene.
Right.
Now, another person says, during the time Mr. The assistant manager was asked in a separate report here by the probation office. The first one was what the assistant manager stated to the police when they investigated that you had stolen the items, which are $850 mower, a blower kit valued at $700, a multi-head edger at $179, trimmer line valued at $43, about $2,000 worth of merchandise that you exited with. So, the assistant manager said he stopped you and asked you to provide a receipt for the items on the cart. Then the defendant, you accused him of being a racist for stopping him at the exit. Why would you say that?
I can't remember what I said.
Because that's kind of disturbing. I mean, nobody likes to be called that unless it's true, you know?
Yes.
Well, okay. And then you walked around the cart, went into a violent mode, threatening to assault him if he did not move out of the way.
I can't remember what I said, but I'm sorry, I apologize.
Well, I know. Okay. Right. But if it was just an apology, everybody apologizes up here. I mean, we just don't go, okay, you caught me now. And I'm apologizing. Can I go home now? That's not the way it works. We look at criminal history and the circumstances of the case.
Yes.
Your criminal history is kind of, how many felony offenses do you have you been convicted of, sir? See, there's so many you don't even know. I count one. And this is back now for 36 years.
Yes.
In 87, you were on 10 years deferred, but you didn't make it. That was revoked in a few months, and you were sentenced to 7 years because you committed another offense while on probation. So it was a burglary of a vehicle, then a felony theft. Kind of like what you did here, only with assaultive behavior, it turns it into a robbery. Then another burglary of a vehicle. Then a burglary of a vehicle again. Then another burglary of a vehicle. Illegal possession of a controlled substance. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now. 7, aggravated assault on a peace officer in 92, 15 years in prison. Then 25 years in prison for illegal possession of controlled substance in 03. Robbery here. So what did I count? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And then this one.
Which is one of the positive things is that the last conviction I see is that 22403, and that would have been over 20 years ago. Because if you look on the second page, I don't see what any of these are convictions. So the last time you had a conviction was 20 years ago.
But nonetheless, he's still on parole.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of over your head. You got a lot to lose. You're on parole for that when you commit this offense. Okay. So much for what parole does, you know. I know they try hard, but you're on thin ice when you're on parole. You got 2 fires now. You got the parole, the 25 years imprisonment, and then this new case, which is a assaultive violent crime. I just wish things were different here. But you're held accountable. We're all held accountable for the choices we make. You're not in a position because quite frankly, looking at the worst 15 years, you're really a 25 to lifer anytime you commit a felony. A minimum of 25. But that's not what they did here. They cut it lower than that. He was able to fashion the worst 15 years, but still, I wish you've got family at home who needs you. You've got a job that's makes you independent. And then here, I just am frustrated that he couldn't have done better. Yes.
Special right here. Start one.
Here's what the probation office summarizes it, and they have a good point. His explanation for his criminal history was, I was young and wild then, but now I need money, which isn't reflected. I mean, you don't need that. You don't need money to have to rob people for it. It appears that the defendant's actions have escalated to threatening victims with violence. And you, it states, showed no remorse or contrition during your interview with the probation office. You know that you don't understand what he's saying is that you appeared cold to all of this. You didn't really seem to empathize or sympathize in this case with the people who were victimized. And hey, when you steal stuff from a major store, you're victimizing everybody who has to pay for the difference. When that cost goes up for the loss, we all pay. We're all victims. Just three things. Just don't harm people, live honestly, give each person their due respect. And that's everything about the law. And living good. But that's not what happened. Anything else?
So I guess he should closing to the judge, because I know that in the recommendation section of the PSI, it said specifically where you said his explanation for his early years, I was young and wild, and now I need money. So when I mentioned that last conviction was 20 years ago, when you say that you were young and wild and you needed money, if you're given probation, do you anticipate that you would do anything like this again?
Well, I never had what I got. I made a mistake, and God knows I'm wrong and sincerely.
Right.
I apologize from the bottom of my heart. I never had a family. I never had nobody to love me like
You had, hold on, I'm going to interrupt you as you go along because I don't understand. You had a family when you did this.
Yes.
You had them at home waiting for you. You had money that you were making that was, for some people, or price, it's just an astronomical amount.
Yes.
It's a fortune for some people. The point being is, you didn't have to do any of this. You didn't have to steal. You didn't have to threaten somebody, and you didn't have to belittle them by throwing in racism, which was an attempt to overpower the situation. It's
and I didn't see it. I didn't see myself gone.
Look, I don't understand. But you have this threat of parole over you too. Parole is over you the whole time. You do this while you're on parole, which is revocable. I don't understand that. There's not much more we can really do to ensure somebody's going to follow the rules, because you have all of those potential losses: income, family, parole. that help you make your right choice. But here, it's like you just fell off the end of the world. Oh. See, and what's odd is this offer. Generally, people who commit crimes, subsequent crimes, or face higher potential than they did in the past. Well, you were sentenced to 25 years the last time. I'm surprised because normally you're looking at much more than that for another crime of violence. I think your lawyer and state somehow were able to fashion something that takes into account a lot of this, but there's just little room for mistakes for you. I just wish things were different. I wish I would have been there a moment before you decided to make this, to whisper in your ear, you've got too much to lose. This is not worth this bad choice. Anything else? If not, I'm going to find that there is sufficient evidence supporting this indictment to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, as you have pleaded guilty voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. State's Exhibit 1, which was admitted in the plea hearing, supports your guilty plea. And I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I am following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 15 years. I just wished you would have made a better choice, because most people don't have the positive aspects of life that you had, with a family, a good job, and a history of knowing that bad choices make consequences that you've had to pay with 8 convictions, and that now you come and commit another violent crime. This court has, under these circumstances, has little option. Once you, if you're serving a 25-year sentence and you're on parole for that, you commit a violent crime. It's unusual. People are sentenced to less than 25 years for the next offense. All right. That is the order of this court and the judgment.
Mr. Boatwright, I'm going to show you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Boatwright, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. Did you understand you're charged with the offense of theft under $2,500 in hands? That's a state jail felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargaining agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes,
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
I did, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Boatwright, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor. No.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, I am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page, did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 12 months in the state jail facility. There are no applications, and this is to run concurrent with night mag number 723414. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
I believe it's the punishment to be assessed at a cap of 12. We're going to you for cap of 12.
A cap of 12 months. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And state, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of repeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in both places?
I believe so.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest, Your Honor.
State, any evidence?
State Officer State Exhibit 1 and all attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Boatwright, I'm showing you what's entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
I believe so.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. All right, can we proceed with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. State, what's his criminal history other than the theft cases?
So, Judge, there is some history I can let you look at the NCIC if you want.
Any objection?
No objection.
Thank you. Thank you.
Altercation. It's not an incident where he left Hayden for help. He didn't want to cause a scene. He didn't want to retaliate back. He left. Didn't have money. Got a hot dog at Walmart, and he was asking for 10 months, and we're asking something lower than 12.
All right. So why does he keep, I mean, I understand, I read the report and I understand it's you're stealing food. All right. And I'm sympathetic and empathetic to the fact that you're homeless and you're hungry. But I know in San Antonio, there are places where the food is free. It may not be what you want, but it's free. So I don't understand. And I looked at your criminal history. So your criminal history is extensive. And so why should I give him less than the year? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I would, there was an incident at Haven for Hope shortly before this happened. He didn't want to pick up a new offense. I understand it's under $20 theft, but he didn't want to get into a fight. He pulled off, he walked away. There could have been a scene at Haven for Hope. He relies on Haven for Hope to stay there, but he would tell you that he did take the hot dog.
I had something.
Sure. You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah, sure.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
I can be for an honest answer.
No. What's your name?
Bryant Edward Boatwright.
All right, so Mr. Boatwright, what did you wish to say?
I was just going to say that once I'm not in that shelter area, I have problems downtown. The homeless society down there is a little different than it is outside of the downtown area. But I start drinking alcohol, and then the alcohol influences my thinking, and I end up doing what I did. I don't know if I can feel it worse or better, but that's basically what happens. And then I end up doing things like that, and it's either, and I try not to do that. I end up flying a sign because you have to stay at Haven long enough for DPS to give me my ID back. It's not the $20 from a state ID card. I lost my wallet a few years ago. I struggle with this, and I haven't been able to do any even day labor work through temp services because with a Haven ID, that's not good enough to register with them.
I'm sorry, sir. I need you to speak up or speak in the
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I don't know why I'm saying all that, but I guess I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to paint a picture of the situation to, I guess. And that's because it's not a very smart thing. And alcohol does tend to make me think how much smarter than I am at the moment. It makes my life seem more tolerable on the street, but it has a bad end every time. So.
And do you have any family living on the planet?
I have a brother, and I just don't really, we're not enemies, but I'll leave him alone because his wife's not comfortable around me. He's got a second wife, and I just kind of avoid him. I see him once in a while. And he had tried to help get it set up before for me to live at the Salvation Army on Nolan Street where I used to stay, with just my Haven ID at first, living upstairs where you pay by the month. And then I could get all my ID back and get my Social Security retirement started, which wouldn't be a lot, but it would cover living there. And I like that Salvation Army.
And what was your prior occupation, or what did you do?
Well, I've done a lot of labor work, but I used to work with petroleum attorneys and petroleum landman and did title work for oil companies. And that was the main thing that I did, and what my brother does. He's in a more professional bracket. I was never very stable with anything I did in life, and I've had these recurring issues with alcohol for years.
So how are you planning on handling your alcohol issues? Because otherwise, look, whether I give you 12 months or 10 months, at some point in time, you're going to be out of custody.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to be back out in the free world.
I know.
So what are your plans?
I always have these plans, but it's not that I don't have plans, but I end up
no follow through.
Become a chronic failure, and I think it's somewhere along the line I might have given up more than I thought I did. And
how old are you?
68, and I thought when I went back to Haven for Hope, I was determined that I was going to stay no matter what. And there's a lot of angry people there, and I'm not a person who likes confrontation.
Are you originally from San Antonio?
No, ma'am, I'm from Midland, Odessa.
All right. So are you planning on going back to Midland or no?
What I really thought about doing was when the state jail term is up, they will give you a bus ticket anywhere within the state. And I thought about going to El Paso and going over to making my way over to Tucson because I like Arizona.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, they give you a bus ticket to anywhere, but if you're getting a bus ticket and you're going somewhere and there's no plan in place,
Well, they have a very good, place. I've never been to it, but it's a shelter system like Haven for Hope in a sense. And, I would hope it might not have been as crowded as here. Just going somewhere different doesn't solve my problems, but it might be good. I don't know. When they have a place called Primavera Center, which is well known, like Haven for Hope, we're having a complete.
you know, there was a comedian, and I think he's since passed, but the first time I heard him and my mom heard him, we thought he was hilarious because he was pretty deadpan. And he told this joke, and his joke was, no matter where you go, there you are. So it's wherever you go, your problems that you had before are still going to be there. You can't outrun problems.
Sure.
All right. Any questions?
No.
All right, Mr. Boatwright, I'm going to sentence you to 10 months in the state jail facility. I'll give you credit for any time served. Taking consideration NIMAG number 723414, and as previously stated, the court is finding you guilty. I can ask that you be placed in the therapeutic community while you're there. It doesn't increase your time. Your time is 10 months. Whether you're in therapeutic community or not, it's still going to be 10 months, but perhaps they can help you with your alcohol issues. Would you like me to recommend that?
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
I believe I did.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question of what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes. Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You're in your 60s. You and I both, we are in the twilight of our lives. And as my mom says, Father Time is not great to anyone. So you're going to have to start following through on whatever your plans are, because otherwise you may end up finding yourself in prison. Your counsel will tell you at a certain point in time with state jail felonies, they are enhanceable. And your minimum may end up being, well, your maximum may end up being 20 years.
Yes.
And I don't think you want to go to prison for stealing $19 worth of food for 20 years. I once had a client, and it's a matter of public record, so I can say it, who was on parole. And he was on parole for stealing what goes on the water hose, the little, I forget what you call it, but it's the little thing that connects it to the faucet. And that is 50 cents. And do you know what? He was on parole for life for 50 cents. So don't be that person. If you have a drug or alcohol problem, guess what? You can go to an NA meeting anywhere in the Texas, anywhere in the United States. And I guarantee you, if time when you get out, if you step foot in the free world and you find an AA meeting or an NA meeting, there are people probably in that group who can probably tell you, oh, I used to be where you were. This is the shelter I went to, or I used to be where you were. Here's where you can get some free food. Because otherwise, you're going to find yourself living at somebody's institution. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Boatwright.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right.